Here we go, Dirty Birds fans. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports, and we are live on a Wednesday. Welcome in, Falcons fans. My name is Moose, here to bring you the latest and greatest surrounding the Dirty Birds. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, including, but not limited to, a Falcons versus Vikings preview. I've highlighted my 5 key to victories that you need to know about. Plus, we're going to deep dive into Michael Penix Jr. and the improvements he needs to make after his very impressive Week 1 performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then, of course, we got to hear from you specifically. A mailbag episode. Hashtag Falcons or Super Chat is the best way to get featured. Super Chat, obviously, you're going to be front and center right on the line. And then hashtag Falcons as well. So producer Jack can make sure that everything gets ship-shaped and we have ourselves a show. Before we get going with the rest of our build-up, I want to ask you a quick question. What's your confidence level in the Dirty Birds at this point? Talking about after the game, heading into Week 2 for Sunday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings, where are you at? 10 being like, it's the highest I've ever ridden with this team. 1 being like, sell the franchise. Sell them to anybody. I'm going to say right now, I'm still at about a 6.5 or a 7. I thought there was a lot of great things after going back and watching the tape. Oop, we disconnected here. Hold on. My apologies. We're going to come right back here. I'm having some internet issues today, folks, so if you just bear with me every... no, not this time. It doesn't look like. Hold on. Hold on. I was going to say, I'm still connected, which is crazy. Ah! One moment. I'm going to disconnect and then reconnect here. Good news is I'm still on HQ, which is great. 1 second, my friends. I apologize. Did it go down for you as well? You're chilling? All right. Well, I'm going to switch to the phone right now until we get back to square one, because I can't even see who's commenting right now. Yeah, let's hope it's not a power outage. Jeez Louise. Yep, wait a minute. There we go. Hold on. It looks like it's coming back. And we're back. All right, cool. I'm back. I'm back. That's true. Sorry. All right, so I'm at about a 6.5 or a 7. I thought there was some stuff to build upon. There's a lot of good things that I saw, not only from the offense, but from the defense. Obviously, there are some issues that need to be cleaned up. How about not missing your field goal kicks? That's why he went out and signed John Parker Romo. The offensive line wasn't nearly as good as it needs to be. Raheem Morris addressed that in his press conference. So I've got a lot of things that I want to take away that were positive and just kind of like filter out the negatives. However, this is going to be a much tougher matchup. The Minnesota Vikings, in my opinion, are a much better football team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know about you guys. I was not that impressed with the Buccaneers. I know they're dealing with a ton of injuries right now, but from what I saw, they're a very beatable team. This division should start and end with the Falcons. No doubt. Now, before I get into more, and I'm going to give some shout-outs for some confidence scales, I have to tell you about our friends over at HelloFresh. You may remember HelloFresh, but not like this. They send chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients to your home, but this summer they made it their biggest menu upgrade yet. It is the HelloFresh of the future. They've doubled their menu. You can now choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Dig into bigger portions that'll keep everyone satisfied. It is tastier. Get steak and seafood recipes delivered each week for no extra cost. There's 3 times more seafood on the menu at no extra cost. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals apply to discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. Also, got to give a major shout out to our friends over at PrizePicks. This episode and live stream is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day. But on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. Very simple to play. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Join millions of users and sign up today. It is in photo, by the way, if you're looking for a PrizePicks lineup. You can download the app right now. It's that purple P with the white outline. And you can use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. You want to take a look at how it goes? My friends, it's very simple. Just like this. More or less, send that bad boy in. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. So back to confidence levels here. Let's take a look. I'm going to give some shout-outs here. Give me your confidence. Pinky says, Petey was good, but so are you, Moose. Thank you. I appreciate that. We miss Petey around here. He's a good friend of mine. Chris says 6. The dog sit says 6 to 7. I think that's about right. 6.5 or a 7 feels like the right area to be in. We've got 64 people rocking with us. I know that everybody's got their own opinion, so let me know in the comment section down below while I tell you about what we've got cooked up for today's Super Chat menu. So obviously you know that we're running a month-long Deion Sanders jersey raffle ticket giveaway sort of thing. We've got 4 people that have already entered in, and I've got that list right beside me. I will allow people to get in on the action today for just $5. That's all it costs. $10 is going to get you 3 raffle tickets. $20, you're going to get a wheel spin for more entries. Producer Jack will cook something up for you. Maybe that's 1 more entry. Maybe that's 2. Maybe that's 5 or 10. Obviously, we don't know. That's why you spin the wheel. And then, of course, if you send in a $50 super chat, not only are we going to bang, we're going to throw out 20 entries, and I'm going to drink a beer bong on a random Wednesday at work, which I don't know about you guys. I like drinking alcohol at work. It just makes me feel really, really good. Here's the deal. The major deal takeaway from today, if we make $150 on today's live show, I will make next Sunday's raffle half off. So that means instead of it being $5 to get in, it'll only cost you $2 to get in. $5 will be, what is that, 2 entries then? $10 will be 6. 20 will be whatever, and you can slash those prices or double them up however you see fit. So if we make $150 on today's live show, I'll make next Sunday's raffle half off. Slashing prices like we're at TJ Maxx. All right, let's get back on track. Not only in the live show, but also for the Falcons season. Hit that thumbs up icon if you're ready for the Falcons to start the winning streak. I'm telling you right now, I need it. I need it badly because I cannot go through another Sunday where you lose at the last second because Koo misses a field goal. I need to see some good winning football. There's a lot to take away from, like I said, the Buccaneers game that is good, but obviously some things that need to be cleaned up. So hit that thumbs up icon if you want the Dirty Birds to start their winning streak. I'm back off of the Wi-Fi once again. I know. I was going to say you can just tell because the chat stops, like, going. Oh, my friends, I apologize. There we go. Hold on. Stop. Come on. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hey. What's up? Yeah, see, I wish I could see that. So, fun fact, this part of the studio that we're in, like the office, I should say, for whatever reason, I just hit like dead spots on my computer. I don't know what it is. Nobody can figure it out here It's not ancient. It's a 2024 Lenovo. I don't know what the deal is, but oh yeah, maybe that is Stone Age considering all things. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it's going to be like pencil thin. Oh, we did get a $20 super chat from our guy Pinky coming in with the 20, which means we're spinning wheels. No, I didn't think you were lying, but I also didn't see it. He says London plays, Mooney plays, get a turnover or two, and get the goddamn play action going. You can win. Rise up and make the dang field goals. Pinky, I like the way you think. There's a lot of what you just said in that $20 super chat that I believe is something that the Falcons need to do. I've also highlighted some of those things in my preview against the Vikings, which we'll get here in just a second. But you sent in a $20 super chat, and Jack loaded up our nice little wheel spin. So here's what we're going to do. Once this wheel is spun, whatever number it lands on is how many extra raffle tickets you're going to get. So here we go. Spin that wheel, Mr. Producer. Tick, 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 tick. 6 is good. 6 extra ones for Pinky. Pinky gets... What's up? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something like me. Pinky gets 6. Oh, I was going to be like, please don't say that. Please don't say that. Pinky, you are in 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, I forgot Jack's a Michigan guy. So he's all about the J.J. McCarthy bandwagon. Isn't that correct? You're on the bandwagon.
No bandwagon.
Okay.
I support J.J. McCarthy.
Can we just talk here for a second with 81 people walking in the building?
I'm happy to talk.
You cannot even sit here and try to convince me that the first 3 quarters of that game, J.J. McCarthy looked like an NFL quarterback. He didn't. Fourth quarter, I'll give it to you. He was outstanding.
So, my take on this entire thing is he missed his entire rookie season with a devastating knee injury, which I would never wish on my worst enemy.
Sure.
It is his NFL debut on the road, in hostile territory, in prime time, only game on, the entire world watching, his family in the crowd, his hometown, and, of course, he looked like a rookie. Because he technically is. Yeah. He's not, but he technically is.
Yeah.
But you know what he showed?
Poise.
Yep.
He did.
In the fourth quarter.
Yep. Clutch.
10-point comeback.
Yep.
3 touchdowns, 2 in the air, 1 on the ground. I mean, everyone's going to say, oh my God, the Bears let him have it. Well, okay, but football's hard.
Yeah.
And you have to execute.
Correct. And I will also say this. The Bears lose those games in dramatic fashion all the time. All the time. So I'm going to be interested to see this week against the Dirty Birds how he fares. Because remember, the Falcons' defense this last week against Baker Mayfield, who is a very good quarterback, was really good. Situationally, maybe not as clean as you would have liked it. But I think you and I can both agree, I'm talking to you now, Falcons fan, that we liked what we saw for the most part from the Falcons defense. You only give up 23 points to that high-powered offense from last year, you're doing something right.
I just want to react real quick to 2 comments.
Sure.
3, actually.
Uh-huh.
One from Brendan Wilson. Penix destroyed JJ in yards. I assume he's talking about the 2023 National Championship game, which myself and boss James Yoder were at.
He also destroyed him in week 1. But Penix had 298 yards passing in week 1.
Okay.
So maybe that's what he's talking about.
Maybe he's talking about that. But if he's talking about the National Championship game, because that is something people are talking about, is it's a National Championship rematch.
Yep.
Who won the game?
Michigan.
Penix, I talked about this with JJ in week 1. He's got a full year under his belt. Penix, great quarterback. I got nothing against Michael Penix. I actually am high on Michael Penix.
Yep.
So, great. Awesome. He's had a year in the league, too, so that's great. 404 Life said, JJ not ready. I mean, did we see the fourth quarter of Monday Night Football?
Look.
Sure seems like he showed a lot of poise. And then the Dogs YouTube says he's overrated. He's played 1 game. I don't know. We're not overrated. Who's overrating him? Everyone's saying he had a great fourth quarter, which is true.
Look, again, like I told you, the Bears end up losing those games all the time. So when he goes up against the Falcons this week, it'll be a much better idea of who he is as a quarterback, at least for his full starting season. I think there's some great things that I saw from him, but I also know that the Bears do Bears things, which is absolutely hysterical.
Sure. I think it's hard for someone to be overrated when, one, he's played one game.
Yep.
And two, a majority of people don't think he's good for some reason. So how is he overrated if a majority of people don't think he's good?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. How can you overrate bad?
How can you overrate bad?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like that doesn't make any sense. Like if you looked at Twitter the first 3 quarters of that game, everyone was saying, "Oh my gosh, the Vikings need Sam Darnold back. JJ is a dumpster fire." That's literally, I watched it.
No, I know. I know.
That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
So how can you overrate that? You can't.
No, I agree.
JJ had a great 4th quarter. He wasn't much better. Okay, we're going to get into semantics here.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to do that.
That's fine.
For a little background, I am our Michigan host. I've been our Michigan host since the 2022 season, so I know a lot about JJ McCarthy. So that's my background. That's why I'm talking about
Fair
it.
enough. All right, two things here.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
I apologize. I agree with the sentiment. Again, this is coming from a Michigan fan that loves JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
I agree with the sentiment of it was one good quarter. We need to see what next week is.
Correct.
I agree with that sentiment.
Correct. Two things here now. One, we got a $5 super chat from our guy, Angel. So we'll answer this right now. McCarthy can't run like Baker can, then that's what really hurt and killed us. Vikings got weapons, but so do the Bucs. McCarthy and they're missing Addison. Yeah. So the Vikings, to me, are a better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from top to bottom. There might be some things the Buccaneers do better than the Vikings do, but as a whole, the defense for the Vikings is better. The run game for the Vikings is better. The offensive line right now, because of all the injuries the Buccaneers have, it's better. So this is a much tougher test, but I also think that the Vikings should not have won that game against the Chicago Bears. So the Falcons, you could look at this as saying the Falcons have an opportunity here to kind of expose what we think the Vikings might actually be. The second thing I want to say is let's get to 30 likes before we start our first Falcons versus Vikings preview of our first cut. That's 2 likes away. Hit that thumbs up icon if you want to start this preview, because that's what we're going to wait for.
Honestly, if you really want to show that you're a Falcons fan, we should get to 40 likes because there's like 100 of you watching. That's not even 50% like ratio.
I kind of like what you're saying. That's only 5 likes away now. People have already hit that thumbs up icon, which I love. 39. One more. Push. Wow, it's really just going to sit at 39. I did say, okay, there we go. 43. Now we can start it. All right, so here's what we got. Falcons versus Vikings preview. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Michael Penix Jr. and how he needs to improve. And then, of course, we're going to end today's show with a mailbag. Remember, we're at $25 already. If we get to $150 on today's live stream, I'm slashing the prices for this coming Sunday night football game for the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. So we got to get to $150 if you want me to slash those prices. Without further ado, producer Jack on the ones and twos. He's ready to go. Let's get into our Falcons versus Vikings preview. Dirty Birds fans, week 2 is basically here, which means we got to talk a little bit about the Falcons against the Vikings. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I believe the Atlanta Falcons can dominate the Minnesota Vikings. I've highlighted 5 areas the Falcons can beat the Vikings in, both offensively and defensively. I think you're going to find that these are not only carryovers from week 1, but just offensive and defensive philosophies that are just going to be good to have going forward, not only on Sunday Night Football, but for the rest of the season. Now, before we get into that, we got to get back on track. The winning streak starts right here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon because the winning streak starts right here on Falcons Today. If you want the Dirty Birds to win, hit the thumbs up button. let's start with our keys to victory. First things first, you got to stack 8 men in the box. Now, in case you aren't familiar with this term, the box is essentially how many guys you're lining up in a specific group on the defensive side. It starts with the defensive line. The Chicago Bears did the wrong thing against the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. They only stacked 8 men in the box against the Vikings 20% of the time. Why is that a bad thing? Well, with the offensive firepower that the Vikings have, most of the time, teams are going to play up against the pass. So when you don't stack the box, that allows guys like Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, to really do damage on the ground. And that's exactly what they did against the Bears. They ran for 120 yards on Monday night. That's way too much to old Aaron Jones and backup running back Jordan Mason. So if you're allowing 120 yards on the ground to these guys, you clearly didn't go in with the right game plan on the defensive line. And also, I think the Falcons' defense is good enough to handle this. You're going to see this a lot. Kevin O'Connell loves running 12-man personnel to establish the run. He likes putting 2 tight end sets on either side of his tackles. That is a proven statistic and a proven formation to allow your running backs to find extra holes. It basically creates another gap. So when I watched what the Bears did, I said they did it all wrong. You've got to stack the box and take away the run. That also will force J.J. McCarthy to be the one to beat you. And as we saw on Monday night, through 3 quarters, he wasn't nearly good enough to pick apart the Bears' defense. So the Falcons have an opportunity to really establish themselves and put all of the pressure on this young quarterback. And speaking of the defense, here's what I want you to do. Grade the Falcons' defense from week 1. I can't give it an A because situationally they gave up a couple of touchdowns that they shouldn't have. So I'll give it a B. 23 points to a high-powered offense is really, really good stuff. I liked what I saw. Need a little bit more sacks. The pressures were there. Now it's time to finish. So I'll give it a B, but let me know in the comment section down below. Let's go to our second key to victory. Scheme more design blitz. This is a message for Jeff Ulbrich. Why do I say this? Because the Falcons, from what I saw, loved blitzing on 3rd down, which is like the most stereotypical time to blitz. And they did a pretty good job of it. At one point, Baker Mayfield was 0 of 6 on the day when Falcons applied pressure and 9 of 13 when in a clean pocket. But I can guarantee you that if I went back and looked at the tape and I watched Baker Mayfield complete passes when he had a clean pocket, most of them probably were on 1st and 2nd down. I'd be willing to bet money on it. So you've got to be able to scheme more blitzes on earlier downs. There's nothing wrong with on 1st and 10 sending a 7-man pass rush. Why not? Especially on a young quarterback like J.J. McCarthy, who's probably not ready for it. And like I said, the Falcons got pressure on Baker. Divine Diablo had 4. JPJ had 4. Rook had 4. So putting pressure on the opposing quarterback wasn't a problem. It was finishing. In fact, they generated 40.5% pressure rate on the Buccaneers on dropbacks in week 1. That was like 7th in the entire NFL. That's awesome. That's really, really good stuff. It means your players are getting into the backfield. But you can't just blitz on 3rd down. You've got to have more designed blitzes, something that Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, is really, really good at. He blitzes all the time. We'll touch on that here in just a little bit. Now, before I get into my other keys to victory, today's episode is, of course, sponsored by HelloFresh. You may have heard of HelloFresh before, but not quite like this. It is bigger. That's right. It's doubled its menu. You can now choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Dig into bigger portions that'll keep everybody satisfied. It's healthier. Feel great with an even healthier menu filled with high-protein and veggie-packed recipes. HelloFresh now helps you eat greener with new veggie-packed recipes that have 2 or more veggies included. This is not the HelloFresh you remember, my friends. They send chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients to your home. And the best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. That's one per box with active subscription. Free meals applied at discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. I will have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Thank you to HelloFresh. Third key to victory. Please, Zach Robinson, more snaps under center. I'm tired of watching the same pistol formation over and over and over again. Why? It leads to poor results. The Falcons were 27th in week 1 in yards per carry at 2.5. That's with Bijan Robinson, the second best running back, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. That's unacceptable because it's predictable. It's stale. And with a kind of makeshift offensive line at the right tackle position, it's not good enough. So what do you have to do? Go under center. If you're going to use the zone blocking scheme like Zach Robinson runs, do something like this. Put more tight ends in. You kept 4 of them on your 53-man roster. Use them. Create more holes. Create more separation. You can't do that when you're in the same pistol formation all the time. Trust me when I say this. Brian Flores is one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. He's watching the tape. He knows what they like to run. And if you've got Bijan Robinson and you've got his yang to Bijan's yin in Tyler Algier and Nathan Carter, who I believe at some point this season can make a big difference. This is a very good running back room. You got to establish the run. It's also going to be Michael Penix Jr.'s best friend. So please, hear my plead. More snaps under center. It'll do everybody a load of good. Last question for you about the run game. Will Bijan have more than 70 yards rushing? Yes or no? I'm going to say slightly less. I think the Falcons go over 100 this week, but maybe not specifically from Bijan himself. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. All right, this one's more in response to the aggressiveness that Brian Flores will show you against the blitz. You got to pass more out into the flat, something that I thought Michael Penix Jr. actually did pretty well in week 1 against the Bucs. But remember what I said. He's the highest blitzing defensive coordinator in the NFL. For those of you who know about football, how do you beat the blitz? You get the ball out quick and you pass it out into the flat because usually nobody's guarding those outside corners. Not the cornerback position, but those outside corners on the field. The best way to beat the blitz is to flood a wide receiver or a tight end, like Kyle Pitts, to the flat and get rid of that ball quickly. It doesn't need to be anything insane. You don't need to gain 45 yards. 8, 9 yards on a flood, and you will absolutely take away what Brian Flores does the best. Because the more and more you blitz and the more and more success you have against the blitz, the more he's going to back off and play more zone coverage. He's not going to stick up in man. He's going to drop back in coverage and maybe only rush 3 players. That's where you can make your living if you're an opposing quarterback, specifically in this case, Michael Penix Jr. Number 5. Why does this even have to be one? Make your kicks. I think we can all agree that Michael Penix Jr. did an amazing job of driving this team down the field to put the Falcons in a position to tie that ball game up against the Tampa Bay, and then who knows what goes on in overtime. But Koo misses. And that's why you went out and signed John Parker Romo, and that's why you've got Lenny Krieg waiting in the wings on the practice squad as well. The leash on Younghoe Koo is an inch long. In fact, Raheem Morris said today at his press conference, the kicking battle started today at practice. So at the time of this recording, Koo is still named the kicker. But that could very well change by the end of Thursday. You could hear something change by Saturday morning. We don't know yet. But I think it's telling that you went in and you're working out players to become your new kicker because Koo is not getting the job done. He hasn't since the beginning of last season. 27-37 since the beginning of last year. That's below a 73% clip. 4th worst in the NFL, behind 3 players that are no longer on their respective teams. So I'll ask you that question. What does that mean? It means you got to be more clutch. You need a fresh leg. And I'm not even saying that John Parker Romo is a better kicker. I mean, he got waived by the Patriots on their 90-man roster this year to make room for the rookie Andy Borgalis, who they did draft, by the way. But why not give Krieg a shot? Because at this point, you have to. You need a fresh leg. So pick a kicker for me. Excuse me. Koof, type K, Romo, type R, or for Krieg, type L for Lenny. At this point, I'm typing my L for Lenny. I need to see something else. But I'll give Koo one more game if Raheem Morris, decides to name him the starter. But that's about it. You better be perfect on Sunday. Let's get back on track one more time in case you haven't already hit that thumbs up icon. Make sure you don't jinx the Dirty Birds. Until next time, my friends, rise up and be cool. $5 super chat from Trey coming in. Do you think they had Penix air it out week 1 to see what he can do for the rest of the season? Or do you think it was just poor play calling? 42 is a lot. That's a great question. Here's what I actually think. I think what the idea was to make sure that Penix threw about 30 times to kind of see what he got. But with the lack of success that you had in the run game, you had to throw the ball because Bijan wasn't getting it done. Algier wasn't getting it done, and that's not on them. That's on Zach Robinson's play calling. It just wasn't nearly good enough. So I think there was kind of a bit of both there where they probably wanted to see what he could do. So 30 feels like the right amount of attempts, but 42 attempts because some of those plays you just literally could not run the ball. But Trey, appreciate your $5 super chat. You are in, my friend, on a Wednesday, and that is a one-timer. I lost my internet connection again, so 1 second. I'm going to disconnect and then reconnect. I'm reconnecting, my friend. Here we go. Getting better. There we are. All right, 1 second. I'm just loading you guys back up here. Sweet. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with me today. Got 110 people still watching with us. That's awesome. A reminder that today's Super Chat menu looks like this. $5 to get in on the Deion jersey raffle ticket. $10 will get you 3 raffle tickets. $20, you'll spin the wheel for more entries. That's probably the coolest thing. We saw that Pinky just won 6 because he spent $20, which honestly is a great deal. So if you want to send in a 20, you get more entries automatically. And then, of course, if you send in a $50 super chat, we're going to bang. I'm going to throw a beer bong down, and you get 20 entries. And I think that's awesome. So make sure that if you want that Deion Sanders Atlanta Falcons jersey, you send in a little $5 super chat to enter. And remember, if we get to $150 on today's live stream, I'm slashing the prices. Slashing them. That's right. On Sunday Night Football, it will be half off. So $150 is our goal today. Coming up next, we have got our Michael Penix Jr. breakdown. I'm going to talk a little bit about how Michael Penix Jr. can improve based off of what I saw, but also some really great things that he did well. And I'm going to take a page out of Petey's book. I'm going to use the sandwich method. I'm going to go top bun positive, the meat and potatoes is the negative, and then bottom bun is a positive. We'll start and end with the positives and then clean up and fine-tune the things in the middle. I think you're going to like it. Archangel, I completely agree with you. Play calling got to be much better. By the way, coming up after that, we will get into our mailbag. So if you want to get featured on our mailbag episode, you send in a super chat like our guy Trey did, or use hashtag Falcons. That's the only way that producer Jack can get your question up on screen. Has something to do with our equipment. We've got to make sure it's hashtag Falcons. 0 questions. Not good. Use your hashtag Falcons, my friends. I'm going to start calling out people to give some questions. Ramal, I need you to send in one with a hashtag Falcons. Pinky, I don't know if Pinky's super chat counts. Mr. King, I would like to see one from you. Pedro, I'd like to see one from you. The dog sit, he's been in here a long time. Use hashtag Falcons. Let's get some questions going. There you go, Mr. King. Are good. They're usable. All right, cool. Cool. All right. By the way, we appreciate every time you guys hit subscribe as well. If you haven't hit subscribe already, my friends, please do. We're keeping up all season long with the Dirty Birds. That means if they go 16 wins for the rest of the season and go 16-1, or if they go 0-17, I will be here to make a video for you guys every single day. Promise. Absolutely. So if you really feel so inclined, hit that live sub count. We also hit 39,000 subscribers just this morning, which is an unbelievable milestone, almost at 40,000 subs, which is great. There's that one Falcons fan who has been a major fan of the show. Shout out to you, my guy, for using hashtag Falcons. Appreciate you. Pedro also, thank you. Trey, thank you. Keith with a hashtag super chat 0. Jonas, also appreciate you, my guy. See, all you got to do is ask, and you shall receive. Isn't that what the Bible tells us? Something like that. By the way, Darnell Mooney and not Michael Penix, Drake London are both practicing today. Specifically on Drake London, Raheem Morris said that he expects him to play. So that's good stuff. We don't know necessarily quite yet about Darnell in terms of, like, is he going to be good to go? But I do think that all signs are indicating towards him playing. All right, coming up next, we're talking about Michael Penix Jr. Like I told you, this is kind of like my analysis of MPJ and kind of what I see from him and how I expect him to perform not only this coming week, but for the remainder of the season, because there's a couple of things he needs to clean up on. He knows he's not perfect. He talked about it in his press conference today. But there's a lot of things that I saw from this young quarterback that are great to build on. Because the Falcons, yes, they have themselves a QB. Go get a Vic. That's hilarious. That's a great question. If you use hashtag Falcons, go get a Vic, and ask the same question, we'll answer that in our mailbag because it's a great one. All right, 126 people rocking in the building with us. That is what is up. We're going to get into our Michael Penix Jr. film breakdown here and my analysis of what I saw from him in week number 1. Welcome in, Dirty Birds fans, to the Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Mustakis, but please call me Moose. On today's episode, I'm going to break down just for you the Falcons' new quarterback and exactly the things he did well in week 1 and the things that he needs to clean up in week 1. There is one specific quality, by the way, that I believe he showed in week 1 that very few quarterbacks possess, especially in their second year as a NFL quarterback. Only got his 4th start, which is crazy. Before I do that, though, we have a sub battle. This week's sub battle with the Minnesota Vikings, who we face on Sunday night. They're beating us right now by 45 subscribers. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and help us catch up to Vikings Now and Patrick Seatman, who believes that we will not beat them in subs this week. I beg to differ. Let's talk about Michael Penix, the sandwich method. So I'm going with 2 green top buns for positive. We're going to go right in the middle. We're going to go back-to-back negatives. We're going to end out with the positive as well. The first positive, pocket mobility. One thing that I think got very underrated for Michael Penix Jr. was his ability to slide up, slide left, slide right inside the pocket. Pocket poise is something that very few young quarterbacks actually possess. But if you look at this specific screenshot that I have on screen for you right now, this looks like a sack, does it not? Because the Buccaneers go out and they pinch both sides. Penix Jr. evades this, and he actually gets positive yards. So they pinched on both sides, hoping to force Michael Penix Jr. to climb up, run into his own offensive lineman, and then completely abandon the play, either taking a sack or darting it or throwing it out of bounds. But he broke free and gained positive yards on this play. Now, this was one of his few scrambles that he had, but this remains the same. His ability to identify when the blitzers are coming and know exactly throughout the pocket where he's supposed to be by keeping his feet balanced is excellent. And again, it's not something you see from a player after 4 starts in the NFL. But I think this is where his experience in college comes in. So let's go back and take a look at his stats as a whole. 64% completion percentage, 298 passing yards, 2 total touchdowns. And here's something that you need to know. This is an expected completion percentage. I'm sure you're wondering, what is it and why is it exactly the same as his completion percentage? Expected completion percentage averages the number of throws a quarterback should have completed on passing attempts. So this year, Next Gen Stats by Amazon has a team of analysts that go through each and every single passing attempt from each quarterback. And they say, based off of the numbers, based off the defensive scheme and the tape, how many of these should have been caught or should have been completed. They do take into account drops, overthrows, underthrows, and just basic defensive play. You don't want to be in the negatives. You want to be in the positives. Well, Penix's expected completion percentage was 0. And you might look at that and go, that sounds terrible. It's actually a really good thing because 0 in this case doesn't mean 0%. It means dead even, meaning every single completion that Michael Penix had was supposed to be completed. So the incompletions were not supposed to be completions regardless. That's great stuff. That means every time he dropped back and he completed a pass, it was either on time, on target, or something that shouldn't have been caught anyway. So he's playing in scheme. He's playing on time with great delivery. That's what you love to see. So show me some love if you love what I love, and that's Michael Penix Jr. Type 9 in the comments, or if you're watching this during our live show, spam it in the live chat right now. I want to see as many 9s as I can to show some love to QB1. Let's go to our first negative, touch throws. Again, this is probably one of the toughest things to master as an NFL quarterback because you're going up against the very best athletes in the world at this respective game. He has a tendency, and it showed, to overthrow his wide receivers. That usually indicates jitters. You're amped up, you're excited, you're in the game, it's moving fast. You don't realize that you're putting a little bit more juice on the ball than you originally intended. But all of that gets fixed with time and snaps. You saw, even from the very best quarterbacks in the NFL, Josh Allen was notorious for this. He has such a strong arm that in his first couple of seasons, he had a tendency to overthrow his players simply because he had the arm. He was nervous, excited, whatever you want to call it. It just takes a little bit of time. Layered throws are tough to master. And deep ball accuracy is built in timing with your wide receivers. But this is where play action can be your friend. If you go through the exaggerated process of making sure you fake the handoff, set your feet, drop back, hit your back foot, push your momentum forward, and throw that ball with the exact type of touch that you're looking for on that specific throw, you're going to be fine. He's only a couple starts in, my friends. We can just have a little bit of patience. Let's go to the next negative here in just a second. But before we do it, I'm going to tell you about our friends at PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. And listen, you and I get paid every single day to make a decision. But on PrizePicks, you can be right. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. It's very simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. It is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on PrizePicks. How does it work? Just like this. Here are my week 2 picks, or at least a couple of them. Lamar, Justin, Travis Kelce, all with the more because I'm a glutton, and Bijan Robinson on the less for rushing yards. It is that simple. So just go to your app store, click the download button, and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. The next negative. breakdown panic is what I'm liking to call this. Now, this isn't necessarily one of those things that I believe happened on every play, but when the play broke down, you can absolutely see a lot about a quarterback's tenure in the NFL based off of what his feet do. 2 plays specifically where Penix got crossed up in his footwork and the play broke down and he got jumpy inside of the pocket. There was one specific one on a play action inside the pistol where he ran the wrong way. He realized it, so the play was supposed to go to his right. He ended up going left. So he realized it halfway through, stutter-stepped his feet, looked around in a panic, and then just threw the ball away. You've got to relax a little bit more. Plays are going to break down. You're human. Trust your playmakers. If the play starts to eradicate, buy yourself a little bit more time. Scramble outside of the pocket. Keep your eyes upfield and make a throw. You've got Drake London. You're going to get Darnell Mooney back. You've got Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, who was absolutely a stud in the receiving game in week 1. You also have Ray McCloud, who's pretty fast. I don't know if you've seen him before. So there's a lot that you can tell from a young quarterback as he dances around inside the pocket when something like that happens. But I would also say it's okay to check the ball down. Where did this notion come in the NFL that the check down was a bad play? Tom Brady was known notoriously for this, and he's the GOAT. Don't force the throw. Don't just dirt it. Get outside, breathe a little bit, buy yourself some more time, and at worst case, check the ball down. You'll get some positive yards. Let's complete our sandwich with one more positive. The clutch factor. This is what I was talking about at the very beginning of today's episode. You don't see this from second-year quarterbacks. And basically, it's not even really Michael Penix Jr.'s first year because he's only had a couple of starts. Very few young quarterbacks can drive down the field, losing by 3, and put your team in a position to win/tie. It showed unbelievable confidence. And that you can't teach to anybody. You either have it or you don't. And I love it. That ability to take the team, knowing that you need to play well down the stretch in a 2-minute offense, to go down and actually do it while your receivers are letting you down. Put your position or your team in that position to tie the ball game and then get let down again by your kicker. None of that is on Michael Penix Jr. He did his job. And he had a bunch of other clutch plays as well in week 1. Do you remember that scramble on 4th down to move the chains on the extension inside the red zone? I believe it was on 4th down, where he kind of extends his knee instead of going down, reaches his hand over and gets the first. How about that scramble play on the breakdown for the touchdown late in the 4th quarter that took the lead? Oh, and then, of course, the entire last drive, putting the team in field goal position. There is a clutch factor from Michael Penix Jr. And my final takeaway from it, the Falcons have a quarterback. It's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. Very few quarterbacks in this league are, outside of a guy named Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. But Michael Penix Jr. showed me that he is the QB1 for this team for the foreseeable future. I'm sure you had questions going into this year. How's he going to look? How's it going to look that he didn't play in preseason? I didn't see any problems wrong with his performance. None whatsoever, other than those minor tweaks that I talked about earlier. So do you believe in MP9? Yes or no? Yeah, I do. It's an easy yes for me. Let me know in the comment section down below. A reminder that we have to catch up to Vikings now in our sub battle, down by 45. So if you can, I need 45 Falcons fans that have not subscribed to the channel to hit that sub button. It's completely free. It'll never cost you anything. Rise up, and as always, be cool. Gotta love it, my friends. Thanks for still hanging out with us. 131 people on a random Wednesday at, 3 o'clock Eastern time? It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Remember, hashtag Falcons or Super Chat to get in on the show. How about this? I'll make you a deal. If somebody sends in a $50 Super Chat, Producer Jack, if someone sends in a $50 Super Chat, not only will I take down the beer bong, I will spin the wheel twice for you.
I'll also take down a beer bong.
Ooh, I like that. And remember, you get 20 raffle tickets. If the total of those 2 wheel spins is not 20 raffle tickets, I'm giving you 20 anyway. So you'll absolutely get 20 tickets no matter what, but you could get more. I'll spin the wheel twice for you. Big Penix energy, according to someone. Yeah, I got big Penix energy. I got big Penix energy. Unfortunately, yes. Ugh. Mr. King. Don't say that. Not on this channel. You can go to our Buccaneers Now channel. Got like what, 120 subs? Captain Moist Beard says, giving Koo one more game is a bad idea. He was on thin ice after missing 3 versus the Saints last year and making us miss the playoffs. Listen, I told you in the first preview that his leash is like an inch long. I think this is literally his last game as the starter. I don't think anybody trusts Koo at all. And that's unfortunate because he was so good a couple of years ago. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's his new kicking stance that he does, which is honestly it looks terrible. Captain Moistbeard says, cut ties. Snip, snip, snip. Listen, I'm on board with you. I would put Krieg in tomorrow. But it's not my decision. I think he'll get one more game. But like I said, at the time of this live show and at the time of these recordings, he's still named the starting kicker. Switch Fan says, my big prediction for next year's draft is that we get a wide receiver to line up with Drake and Mooney. Hell, I know for a fact that these Tyreek Hill's trade rumors are still really, really high. The 7 jersey gives you superpowers. I like it. He did doink a field goal. Dribble edits. Don't you have somewhere else to be? Vikings. Go to Vikings now. We don't need any of those negative vibes over here. Yeah, they go live at like 4 today. So, yeah, go over there. Go hang out in Minneapolis. By the way, I was just up there getting married. So many Vikings fans. I couldn't believe it. That was great. It was one of the best days of my life. It really was. And I don't say that hyperbolically. You know how most people are like, oh my God, it was one of the greatest days of my... No, I literally, genuinely mean, like, I had so much fun with my wife. It was like, from the moment the day started, I did everything that I wanted to do. And I had all of my friends and family that were there celebrating me. And I'm a bit of a... It's a pretty good feeling. So, like, people tell you all the time. They're like, you don't know what to expect when you're on your wedding day. That's true. Like, you have no idea what you're going to feel. But as long as everybody's there to just celebrate you, I promise you, you feel amazing. It's like a glowing feeling. It's awesome. Not to get all mushy-gushy. Mushy-gushy. Yeah. All right. How many questions do we have before we start our mailbag episode? Yeah, cool. Hey, we're going to start up our mailbag episode here. Feel free, though, by the way, if you want to skip the line, the best way to do that is to super chat or use hashtag Falcons. You can still get them in during the show, and producer Jack will do his best to get them to get them up on screen just for you. Just for you. All right, cool. Knock on wood, I have not had any, you're right, I shouldn't say it, because I know I'll jinx it.
My least favorite thing when I'm on a watch party is when the host talks about how fast the game has gone
And then
so
it
far.
slows
And I'm
down.
like, don't say it. Like, never talk about how fast any sporting event's going, because you just know that it's going to then be the slowest game ever for the rest of the year.
Yes, I completely agree. You have a way of jinxing yourself all the time. Taryn, I don't dislike Minneapolis. It's just there's so many Vikings fans, and I don't like Vikings fans.
Yeah, what?
There's nothing wrong with the city.
What did you say about Minneapolis? You just said there's
I just
a lot
said,
of Vikings
I said there was a lot of Vikings fans. I don't like.
That's crazy, man.
I don't dislike the city.
That's
in
crazy.
fact, because my wife is from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, which is about 3.5 hours from Minneapolis up to the north. So she's in Lakes country. So we used to spend a lot of time when I lived up there with her down in Minneapolis. And Minneapolis is a really fun city. It's super freaking cold. So, like, after October 15th, you do not want to be in Minneapolis. It sucks. It's always freezing. But from, like, May 15th to, like, October 15th, it's great. No. Correct. Oh, he goes, yeah. Oh, no, not Trey said someone. Oh, someone said there was weirdos in the city. Okay, gotcha. He's not talking to me. He was talking to everybody up in the chat.
There are weirdos, Vikings fans.
Yes, correct. Vikings fans are weirdos. All right, let's get into our mailbag here. Appreciate you guys sticking around. We got 120 people still hanging out with us. Let's do it. Welcome in, Falcons fan, to our mail. I'm going to start over. One Falcons fan. All right, a little behind-the-scenes footage here. This is how the sausage is made. We're going to do a take 2 here. That's fucking dumb. Great job, Trace, you idiot. Good job, Moose. All right, here we go. Take 2. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to our mailbag episode here on our live show, which airs every single Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you put your Falcons questions below if you're watching during our live show, or if you just want to have your next question answered on our next mailbag. Speaking of which, let's get in. $20 super chat from Pinky. He says, London plays, Mooney plays, get a turnover or 2 and get the goddamn play action going and you can win. Rise up, and make the dang field goals. Pinky, you are absolutely correct. If you could summarize exactly what you wanted to see here in week 2, that would be exactly it. Your $20 is definitely appreciated, my friends. And rise up, go Dirty Birds. Archangel coming in. McCarthy can't run like Baker can, and that's what really hurt and killed us. The Vikings got weapons, but so did the Bucs. McCarthy and them are missing Addison. Yeah, the Vikings are missing a couple of weapons, but don't ever take for granted Kevin O'Connell and his play calling. He is one of the best in the NFL to do it. It's going to be a tough battle, especially with Brian Flores on the opposite end of the ball being the highest defensive coordinator the highest blitzing defensive coordinator, in the NFL. It's going to be a challenge, but I do think the Dirty Birds can come away with a W to get back to 1-1. Trey with the $5 super chat. Do you think they had Penix air it out week 1 to see what he can do, or do you think it was just poor play calling? 42 is a lot. I think it's a little bit of both here. I think what happened was they wanted to see how he could throw, so I'll bet you that number was about 30. But because the run game could not get going, and that's Zach Robinson's fault, they had to throw the ball more. So, yes, I agree with you. Throwing the ball 42 times, unless you're in an absolute shootout and your quarterback has 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, probably way too many attempts. So I'm going to say try to emphasize creating more opportunities for space in the run game and kind of limit MPJ to like 30 to 33 attempts heading into week 2 on Sunday Night Football. Jay Mile coming in with his question. Penix might get his deep threat back in week 2, and I'm excited for us to embarrass the Vikings and finally get some respect. Darnell Mooney should be back, at least in my opinion. I think the Falcons are missing him tremendously, considering, did you know this? He was the Falcon last year amongst all of the wide receivers in the room that had the best yards per reception, 15.5. He's a big-time player that makes big-time plays. I think his presence on the field doesn't just help Michael Penix Jr., but it helps the likes of Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Ray McCloud and Casey Washington. It all bleeds together. Because when you have a player that commands respect, it leaves other opportunities for your other players. Falcons for life, coming in. Is it too early to start thinking about Zach Robinson replacements? I was hoping somebody was going to ask this question. Look, here's what I'll say. His play calling was way too predictable against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It got stale. It got sloppy. It wasn't nearly good enough. He's the sole reason, in my opinion, he and Younghoe Koo were the sole reasons the Falcons lost that game. But I'll play a little devil's advocate because he asked the question, and I always come prepared. Some potential new offensive coordinators for you. Declan Doyle, the offensive coordinator for the Bears, because Ben Johnson calls the plays there. Shannon Dawson from the University of Miami, who has completely reshaped Carson Beck. Brian Johnson, the passing game coordinator for the Commanders, who has done an excellent job alongside Cliff Kingsbury of molding Jaden Daniels. And Jason Vrabel, the pass game coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, a coach that is also directly responsible for Jordan Love getting that massive second contract, because Jordan Love shows a lot of times during specific weeks that he could be one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. So these are just four names that I came up with on a whim right now on coaches that could replace Zach Robinson. We'll see. Should the Falcons replace Z-Rob? Yes or no? I know that all you Falcons fans are going to say yes. As of right now, I want to pump the brakes because, remember, it's only after week 1. We need a little bit of time for this to marinate. However, if we continue to see the same stale play calling, then I think the writing is on the wall and the answer is clear that, yeah, you'd have to get rid of him. Mr. King, who's, by the way, a Bucs fan. How many plays did Penix take under center last game? That's a great question. I have no idea. It wasn't nearly enough. Not nearly enough. You ran that pistol formation that Zach Robinson loves to run far too often. It was actually one of my keys to victory in my preview, which was play more under center. Create more opportunities for Bijan. Create more opportunities for Algier. The run game is your best friend. Stop trying to just be too meta and run all these different shotgun and pistol formations. Archangel, one more time. We're going to answer a couple more, and then we're going to tell you about our friends over at HelloFresh. Do you think the reason they passed more to Bijan is because they didn't trust their offensive line as much? I think maybe that's part of it because they were trying to get the ball out quick, but I also think that Bijan is going to be a player that they prioritize in the passing game because he is so good. He's such a dual threat in this league. Like, you have to game plan for Bijan Robinson. So I think you're right, but I also think there's a little bit more continuity and complexion to that answer. But appreciate you, Archangel, for getting in on the show. Let me tell you about our friends over at HelloFresh. You may remember HelloFresh, but not like this. This summer, they made their biggest menu upgrade yet. This is not the HelloFresh you remember. It is tastier. Get steak and seafood recipes delivered every single week for no extra cost. There's 3 times more seafood on the menu at no extra cost as well. Discover new seasonal produce each week, from snap peas to stone fruit and corn on the cob and more. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/FalconsChat10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. I will have all of that ready for you in the comments and description of today's video. Let's do 2 more, Mr. Producer Jack, and then let's get on out of here, shall we? Trey. Would you like to see Jalon Walker stay in his current position or be moved around? I'd like Jalon Walker to get in a 3-point stance a little bit more. I think he's so strong. He is a prime candidate for a predominantly bull rushing type of player. A bull rush is basically when you go face mask to face mask with an offensive lineman and just who's stronger. Push him back. I think he absolutely has that in him. He's not nearly as bendy and as shifty as James Pearce Jr., but that's okay because they're the yin and yang of each other. So Jalon Walker, I would like to see a little bit more on the line rather than lining up straight up in a traditional edge rusher stance. I feel like that's more of JPJ's, preferred method. But there are some interesting ways to move those two around. I'd like to see them on the same side of each other. Nick, last question of today. Do you trust Coach Morris to lead the Falcons to a Super Bowl championship win? If history is any indication, not right now. And that's just keeping it a buck. I'm not going to ever lie to you on this channel. I don't see it happening right now. Could that change throughout the season? Absolutely. We have no idea what the future holds. But from what I've seen so far and some of the close losses that the Falcons have had, right now, the fortune cookie says the future does not look so bright. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Reminder to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you haven't already, and as always, rise up and be cool. Sweet. All right, here's what I'm going to do after we get ourselves a back on track with the internet again, because I'm out. We went offline again. Come on back. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I think you're going to like this deal. Oh, God, don't you just love being at the mercy of technology, my friends? I do. All right, here we go. Should be back. Great. All right, 105 people still rocking with us. I have decided, and Mr. Producer Jack, can you tell me how many people have super chatted today? Is it 3? We had 3 people get in on our super chats today. I'm going to be a magnanimous moose here. I am allowing all 3 of those people that sent in their super chats. They are in on the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. Tell you what my plan is. We're at an hour and 8 minutes. In 12 minutes, I'm going to close the Deion Sanders jersey raffle for this stream. So if you want to get in, all it takes is, I want to say 5, but I feel like for the last minute here, it should be a 10. What do you think? So, usually these raffle tickets go into a duck race, and we do those. But I've decided that I want to give these people the opportunity on a random Wednesday that they super chatted. They're in already. If someone sends in a $10 super chat or higher, they're automatically in. You like that? All right. 12 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on the clock. So, Trey, you're in. Archangel, you're in. And Pinky is obviously in. If you want to get in on the Deion Sanders jersey raffle that we're giving away at the end of the month, $10 or higher, you will automatically be entered. Let's answer a couple more questions here while we wait for the last minute super chatters to come in if they decide to. I think everybody agrees with me that it's a no for right now. It's too early to call. But I also believe that every single game, the leash gets shorter and shorter and shorter. You got to show me. Is Penix competent enough to handle under center, and how much did he do it in college? Kalen DeBoer did not really run nearly as much that last year in Washington. So Penix is clearly... There we go. Girth. Go ahead. Gotta love a Girthquake super. Girthquake, you're in. Girthquake is in, baby. He says, ain't no stress like an Atlanta Falcons stress, because Atlanta Falcons stress don't stop. Whoop, whoop. Listen, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, Girth. But also, we've got a new quarterback. Like, the future is definitely bright. Maybe that means it's not with Raheem Morris. If you ask me, The Falcons need to go out and get themselves an offensive-minded head coach. I'll tell you who's a very, very good candidate for this position. There's a guy named Joe Brady. Joe Brady is the offensive coordinator and has been for the Buffalo Bills for the last couple of seasons. He's what got Josh Allen his MVP. Like, Brady can call plays. He understands offense. Yeah, there you go. Lab says Joe Brady, 100%. Yeah, dude, Brady's a hell of a coordinator. And I think with the draft picks that you've accumulated and the talent that you've now added on this defense, and if you keep Ulbrich as your defensive coordinator, I think the defense is going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine. 9 minutes in to get in on the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. If you send in a $10 super chat or higher, you are automatically in. Not in 5 anymore, no. Because usually that's just for the raffle. Like, I'm automatically, like, letting them in. So last week, what we did was $5 for a ticket. That was basically one duck for them. What we did was the top 3 XP members got in automatically. And everybody else that had a duck, we did a race for to get an extra entry. Whoa! We got a $50 super chat. Trey 1222. Bang! Legend has it that Trey is still making the boat rock. And he comes in as, well, we're going to put that up on screen. Producer Jack's the best in the game. So he'll have it up on screen in just a second. One of, he says. Trey is an absolute legend. He says, this super chat is a shout out to you, Moose, for filling the hole that PD left. You've been outstanding on this channel. Shout out to you, my guy. Dude, I cannot tell you how much that means to me. It really does. Like, the kind words that a lot of you Falcons fans have showed me, it's just unbelievable. I'm so happy to be covering this team, and I'm happy to be joining you guys every single day because Falcons fans are so loyal. They're so, passionate about this team. And that's what you want as a host. You don't want to go out and host a team like the freaking Panthers, man, that have like 12 fans, or the Chargers that have like 15 fans. It's just not fun. You want a big fan base that is passionate and loyal about their team every single day, not just on Sunday. Trey, you're an absolute legend, my guy. We got another $10 super chat coming in from our guy, Orange Lantern. But Trey's already in. Trey's been in. But you know what? I'm going to add Trey's name on here like 8 more times because he's an awesome dude. 1 second. There we go. There he is, Mr. Orange Lantern. We making the playoffs. I saw a lot of good stuff from the Falcons week 1. A lot of good stuff. And look, if that loss is as bad as it gets for the Dirty Birds in 2025, you can win this division. You absolutely can. I know there's a lot of people that are like, the schedule is tough. The schedule is tough. In the beginning, it is. From like weeks 8 to week 14, you have arguably the easiest schedule in the NFL. And ESPN ranked the schedules, by the way, the strength of schedules. The Falcons have the 13th easiest in the NFL. So the schedule gets significantly easier. If you can beat the Vikings, if you can beat the Commanders, and you can beat, these kind of second-tier teams that are not the juggernauts, but like right hovering around the playoffs, it should be smooth sailing. Exactly. Girthquake makes a great point. Last year, they started off 0-1. The Falcons started off 0-1. They made that 6-3. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about a week 1 loss. It infuriated me because you shouldn't have lost the game. But if that's the worst that it gets, we're fine. We are just fine.
Do you see where we are on Super Chats?
Oh, we're at $100. All right.
There's more, but wait, there's more.
We We got 5 minutes left, by the way, before we end the entries. I know. I'm trying. If we get another $50 super chat, I am slashing next week's raffle prices. If we get $50 right now, I am slashing the prices for next week's raffle entry. Meaning you can get even more entries for this Deion Sanders at half the price. So it'll cost you $2 to get in. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. You would say indeed. They have been saying. So $50, that's all it takes to get half off on Sunday Night Football for the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. The whole game, by the way. It won't just be for like a quarter. It'll be the whole game. I'm a man that likes to make deals. I'm slinging them around like I'm a blackjack dealer. XXD. Wow, that's a hell of a name. We can win Sunday. Vikings didn't look that good to me. They didn't. JJ looked like a rookie until the fourth quarter. Whoa, excuse me. God dang. The Bears' defense quit because Caleb couldn't keep the offense on the field. Yeah, dude, Caleb Williams, man. It's time to be. I don't think it's time to have the conversation on Caleb yet. I think it's time to officially be slightly concerned. What was the question? Oh, Jaden Daniels. It's Jaden. Oh. Caleb. Stop. It'd be Caleb. Oh, God. ESPN, man. I'll tell you. They just. Yeah. Yeah, they do. I mean, if they've got all of the content, you're going to watch the content. You know what I mean? That one Falcons fan says, how many sacks and interceptions do we get on McCarthy, and who will get them? For me, it's Floyd gets 2, Pierce and Walker get each a sack and a half each. So that's 5 sacks. I don't think he's no. I think he's saying how many sacks and interceptions. I think. Oh, okay, gotcha. Good call. Yeah, I don't think he throws 3. I think he might throw 1. I'm going to say the Falcons get 3 sacks next week. I'm going to say JPJ gets 1, Ebiketie gets 1, and Leonard Floyd gets 1. I'll say Leonard Floyd. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change Leonard Floyd. I'm going to say Divine Diablo gets 1. He played outstanding. He was easily the best player on the field week 1 for the Falcons defense. Wasn't close. Yep. You were here. I remember when he played for the Raiders. That was last year because I was here. Elren, what up, buddy? Either that or it's Lauren. What's your take on the Falcons' run game against this great run defense? I'm praying for less pistol. You got to. You have to have less pistol. You have to have less pistol. You got to run more under center. The Falcons have such talent in the backfield. You cannot ever have Bijan Robinson rush for 2 yards a carry. That is ridiculous. The Falcons as a whole averaged 2.5 yards per carry. Bijan himself had 2. It was 2 yards per carry. That's terrible. Where did I find that? Next Gen Stats, believe it or not, baby. Next Gen Stats. All right. Last second to get your last minute super chats to try to get us to 150. Either way, I'm going to still allow those $10 to get in. Otherwise, we're going to take off, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Captain Moistbeard said, pretty sure Zach Robb ran every first down but one. I told you, it was the most predictable play calling you've ever seen. It was like what you would watch out of a movie. Like, like a movie offensive coordinator calling plays, that's what you expected. And the Buccaneers caught on. It wasn't good. Do you think Zach believes in play action pass on first down? I hope he starts implementing it more. You need it. It was pee-wee plays. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. You got to have better, more creative, less predictable play calling. All right. Let's end it. We're officially a minute past. All right, Dirty Birds fans, appreciate y'all. Trey, thank you to you, my friend, for sending in your supers, and to everybody that got in on the super chats. We greatly appreciate what you guys sent in. As always, Falcons fans, I'll be back with more Falcons content for you starting tomorrow. Rise up and be cool.